Yo, today we are basically going to be doing a ranking of House of the Dragon deaths. I think some deaths are just way more memorable than others and will stick in your mind compared to some which were very just quickly and off screen. As you guys can see on the screen, there are the people who have died, and we've got 5 different rankings. We're going from best deaths to good deaths to decent deaths to meh deaths to boring deaths. And we're kicking off the list straight off with Lionel Strong. Now, as we guys remember, Lionel did die with his son Harwin, and it was caused by a fire, which was all orchestrated by Jaris Strong. I'm not sure if it's Lionel or Lionel, I do apologise for the pronunciation, but the fact that he was killed by his son, I think makes it even more painful, you know, and it makes it more memorable. You know, you'll remember this person was killed by his son, which at this point is Jaris Strong. I think it's definitely in the top 3 ranks. Out of the top 3 ranks, I'll probably put Lionel Strong in decent deaths. I think it was a decent death and a crazy way to go out to be killed by your own son. However, there is a lot of family conflict in House of the Dragon, so it's nothing that surprising. Next, we have Vaemond Valyrian. Now, Vaemond Valyrian's way of going out was like a total badass. You know, he knew he could get into big trouble for saying the things he did, and doing it in the throne room in front of the king, I thought was kind of epic in his own way, and the way he went out was legendary, you know. He stood his ground, and you got to remember, although Rhaenyra and Team Black are the good side, and they have a lot of supporters, Vaemond Valyrian was correct in what he said. Like, they were, Jaehaerys and Lucerys are bastards, and he stood on his ground on that, and I think the way Daemon just finished him off in one slice was also obviously part of the death. It was epic. I'm going to put Vaemond Valyrian's death in one of the best. I think it was one of the most impressive deaths in the show. And yeah, it was awesome. Next, we have the past king himself, Viserys Targaryen I. His death was a progression through the show. You can see anytime there was a time skip, he was suffering more and more in season 1 of House of the Dragon. I think the way he died was expected, of course. We knew he was going to die. But I think the build-up to it was fantastic. The build-up, we saw him suffering. We saw him suffering greatly. And the way he even went past that sometimes to try and bring his family together, which obviously did not, you know, have a great outcome. However, his death had one of the best build-ups. And I think we have to put that in part of his death. And yeah, I think his death definitely, I'm going to put it in good. I think it's almost in best, but you know, when I just think about memorable deaths, you know, like people like Vaemond just come straight into my head. But Viserys' death was definitely up there. Hown Strong is in the same boat as Lionel Strong. I think obviously being killed by his brother is something that is crazy, and obviously being burnt alive with his father, you know, it was almost like 2 deaths into one, and I think it was kind of crazy. I will put Harwin with his father. I'll put it in decent deaths. I don't think it was a meh death or anything like that at all. Next, we have Blood and Cheese. Yo, Blood and Cheese, the thing is, the episode itself was kind of disappointing. I wish they did it exactly like they did in the book, where they kept the child alive who was picked by Helena. However, I think the way they both died wasn't that impressive. I'm pretty sure it was off screen. We didn't really see it. We just know they were caged up. So because it was off screen and we didn't really, you know, get to see it at all, it was kind of unfair. I don't know. I think it's only fair we put them in boring deaths because it wasn't anything impressive at all. You know, them doing the killing was different. For their exclusive death, Blood and Cheese, it was in the boring deaths for sure. Next, we have, I'm pretty sure his name is Alon Caswell, if I'm not mistaken. So, this was the person in House of the Dragon Season 1, where at first he was kind of against Team Green and he didn't really want to support them. However, he was also found hung after that, which was obviously done off screen, and they wanted to get rid of him because he wasn't a true loyal supporter to King Aegon at that point. So, Alon, I think, because it was done off screen, obviously, it kind of brings it down in the rankings, but it did have a lot of effect of just seeing him hung there. It shows that Team Green would do anything they wanted to get loyal power, you know, loyal supporters. So the fact that they did it off screen was probably but I think it actually added to the effect of it, and it was kind of surprising. So I think I'm going to put him into meh deaths. I don't think I could put him into decent with the Strong family. However, I think he's just under there. If there was a tier between decent and meh, I'd probably put him into there. This picture is kind of hard to see, but we have ARX and Lucerys there. Lucerys is just kind of like covered on the side. However, I decided to put both of their deaths together because they did die together, basically. They both died in an instant, and it was probably the most memorable best death I have seen. Not in terms of best that I enjoyed it, but it was just the best death, right? With maybe another person. So Lucerys and ARX, I'm going to put it into S tier. I think it's a very easy death to kind of put into that tier. It was the season finale. It was just crazy. It was epic. So yeah. Next, we have Lyman Beesbury. Yo, I feel bad for this guy, bro. He was just speaking his mind on how Viserys wouldn't give the kingship to Aegon Targaryen, and it was, you know, it was for Rhaenyra. And Kristen Cole just comes over here and grabs him by the shoulders, sit down, and his head just hits the thingy. That was actually a very memorable death to me. Personally, I think it was a very memorable death. I think it was epic, the way it happened. But it also made me dislike Kristen Cole a bit more, because it was like, what was the need for that? You didn't need to kill him because he basically spoke the truth. You guys just can't handle it. So, Lyman Beesbury, I think I'm going to put into decent. I think it was one that kind of took me aback. I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa, can't believe Kristen Cole has just done that. So, yeah, definitely put that there. So next we have Laenor's lover. His name is Joffrey Longmouth, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong there in the comment section below. Yo, another kill involving Kristen Cole, which is crazy to me. Yo, he punched him so hard he literally left a hole in his face, which to me is insane. So for first time show watchers, I think if you're watching that, you won't expect it to be a death, because he was just kind of beating him up. You know, it's like, oh, he did it out of anger, someone's probably going to pull him off. No, he just kept beating him until he had a hole in his face. And for me, that was also a crazy death. It was definitely very memorable. I just thought it was very brutal, and I did feel bad for Joffrey, because obviously he just spoke too much. He didn't know Kristen Cole was kind of on the verge of snapping. Yeah, I thought it was an insane death. I don't think it was like crazy or anything, but I definitely put it into decent. Another one done by Kristen Cole. Okay, next we have Balon Targaryen. Now, if you're not sure who Balon Targaryen is, he was the child who passed away in the first episode of Season 1. He was the son of Aemma Targaryen, who's the mother of Rhaenyra and the wife of Viserys. Yeah, this death, I can't really say much about it. It was the first death on screen, and if I remember my feeling of that, I was just like, you know, I was just kind of not expecting it. I didn't think that would be the first scene they kick off with, or one of the first scenes, I apologize. So, I don't think it was that memorable at all, but it was the first death on screen, so it's probably go into meh. I don't think it was a boring death at all. But yeah, we'll put it into meh for now. Next, we have Lena Valyrian. I guess it was interesting to see Vhagar burn her. Not in a good way, by the way. I'm not saying I love seeing dragons burn people. I mean, sometimes I do. I think someone getting killed by their own dragon in terms of suicide is kind of crazy. I don't know. You don't see that much. You don't see people use Dracarys on themselves, especially from their own dragon. And we actually saw Vhagar refusing to do it. We saw emotion within a dragon, and it was kind of cool and different to see that. And it was unique. So I genuinely think I'll put Lena into meh death. So I don't think she's that high up. But the fact that her own dragon even refused for a second to just burn her, it showed the humanity that, you know, and the connection between the dragon and the rider. And I think it had a lot of influence to, you know, it kind of teaches the viewers that, you know, the bond between a dragon and a rider is absolutely almost unbreakable, you know? So next we have Rhea Royce. Yo, okay, I think this death for me was like really memorable. I think what Daemon did was psychotic. Like what he did was very cruel, and we kind of saw Daemon's dark side. You got to remember, with some of these deaths, you kind of get a progression of other characters. You see more into the other characters, which is what I want to bring into this tier ranking. And I think Rhea Royce's death was insane to see that side of Daemon. I didn't think he would do it, you know, someone he was married to. Of course, he didn't want to be married to her, but it's just the method he did it. I think it was very crazy. He was kind of standing over her and then got a rock, which we did not see. And I don't think we needed to see it. I think this death was very brutal, and I think it showed us more of Daemon. I think, honestly, I'm going to put it into good. I think it was one of those deaths that just made me go, holy crap, Daemon is a psycho, and for some reason, I still like him. So next we have the Crab Feeder. This is similar to Rhea Royce again. The Crab Feeder's death is going to go up in the ranks because of Daemon. Daemon turned into, just for the few minutes, he turned into like one of the best fighters I've ever seen, even though he's not like a best of all time fighter in Westeros or A Song of Ice and Fire. He is still a decent warrior, but that scene where he was just going through everyone made him seem like he was one of the best warriors ever, and I understand why people would think that because of that. You know, it's crazy. But because of the way Daemon was going through people, that whole scenario, the way he died, Daemon goes in, he comes out with his head, or sorry, half-chopped body. It was just crazy to me. I think the Crab Feeder's death's got to go into good. I think it was it's a death I just won't forget. It was insane. Like, I won't forget a lot of these deaths, but some just are way more memorable, and I'm sure you guys understand that, right? Next, we have Jaris Targaryen, who's obviously the son of Lena Targaryen, and his death was caused by blood and cheese, of course, for the son of a son, you know, Lucerys' death leading to this. The thing is, for blood and cheese, if they followed the source material, I think I would have put it into best deaths, because the way they did it in the books was Helena picked the child and they killed the other child instead, so she would have to live and see the face of the child she chose to kill, which would be torture for her. And the way they did that, I think that's crazy. I think that's absolutely psychotic, but it would have gone into best deaths. I think Blood and Cheese was a bit underwhelming, but it wasn't horrible or anything. Putting it in terms of these deaths, I think it'd probably go into good deaths because it's Blood and Cheese. However, if it did follow the source material, it would be above best deaths. It'd have its own ranking because it's insane. But I'm gonna put it into good deaths. I just thought it was a bit underwhelming for what it actually should have been. However, it was still a good death compared to the rest of these. You know, the way it happened, it was just insane to me. Alright, next we have Silver Daenerys. If you guys do not remember Silver Daenerys, he is the one who was brought as a dragon seed to Vermithor so he could have a rider, of course, and he was basically killed by Vermithor at that point. He was the one also where, obviously Targaryens have a lot of incest. He has a lot of birth defects because of the incest, and you can see it in his face, which I think is very realistic. His method of death, a very tragic one, I think. I think for someone to be brought to a dragon and to be killed instantly, and you can see, I think because of his birth defects, you can see he wants to become more. He wants to do something memorable for the Targaryens, and you can see he was ready. He was the first one to go and try and claim Vermithor, and it's kind of tragic that he died like that. It was definitely a death that you will remember, but I don't think it was anything phenomenal, like to anything we've seen that's new or anything. So for that, I think I'll put him into decent deaths. I think the fact that he has the birth defects, you can see, and he wants to do more, actually puts it higher up. It makes you kind of have some sympathy with him. Next we have Aemma Targaryen, who's obviously the mother of Rhaenyra and the wife of Viserys Targaryen. She was one of the first deaths in the first episode, and it gave us a good insight to the story. It's a very important character that has died here, and it will be very important, of course, to the future of House of the Dragon. I think Aemma Targaryen's death was also tragic to die during kind of childbirth. It's horrible, and you can see her literally not wanting for her stomach to be, C-section, and it was brutal. I think childbirth deaths are like, it's not always swords and dragons and fire, and I think a death like that can hit hard, and I think it needs to be high up for that, and it's such an important character as well. I'm going to put it into good deaths. I think death by childbirth is one of the most horrible deaths, and I'm not saying it's like a good death, by the way, like, I'm glad it's happened, or it's enjoyable to watch. No, but in terms of how memorable it is, and how the way she went out, how good it was to the series, how influential it was. So yeah, she definitely goes into good. Next we have Stefan Darkling. Now, Stefan Darkling, I'm actually going to put above Silver Daenerys. I'll say it right now. Because he was the first kind of guy to come in, a dragon seed, and try to claim Sea Smoke. And you kind of see for a split second, you're like, yo, is he going to get Sea Smoke here? Wait, are they going off the books even further? But of course, Sea Smoke was like, no, fuck you, I'm going to burn you. And you can see Stefan, actually, he's much more comfortable at a point. The fact that Stefan Darkling died the way he did, compared to Silver Daenerys, and that was done first, means it will probably be higher ranked. And for that, I think I'll put it into a good death. I won't forget that death anytime soon. Okay, next we have Lord Darkling. I don't know his first name, I do apologize for that, but he is the one that was beheaded by Criston Cole after Criston Cole captured the Crown Lands. It was a quick beheading, it was an execution. It's something that we have seen previously. It's something that happens a lot in House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire in general. It was seeing Criston Cole basically, use his authority a lot more, doing executions. I don't think it was anything amazing or like, oh my god. Yeah, I think I'd probably put it into meh. I don't think it was boring, but I don't think you can put it into where the decent, the good, and the best deaths are. So we'll put it there. Next, we have probably the saddest death in the whole show so far for me. It is Rhaenys and Meleys, and yeah, that death was epic, man. Like I can't just sit here and say, oh, it's going to go into boring deaths because I loved Rhaenys and Meleys. No, it was one of the best, and we saw the method she died. Meleys basically turned back to Rhaenys, and it looks like she apologized, or they were ready to die together. Yeah, it was super sad. Best deaths, of course. And yeah, I don't like to talk about it. It makes me cry. Next, we have Willem Blackwood. Now, if you don't remember Willem Blackwood, this was him when he was younger. He was one of the children that went to propose a marriage for Rhaenyra, and obviously she kind of rejected him because he looked like a child. He was too young. This is him right now, and his death was crazy. Yo, it caught me so off guard. I know it was a beheading, but we saw Oscar Tully you know, with dominance. We saw a young child show dominance. I don't know, that scene was crazy to me. I thought it was one of the best scenes out there. In terms of the way he died, I won't put it into best. I'm going to put him into good. And the reason I say that is because of Oscar Tully. Oscar Tully just absolutely came in and bodied the whole scene. Oscar Tully made that scene amazing. The execution of William Blackwood was awesome because of Oscar Tully. I'm saying it. Last but not least, we have the twins, Eric and Arik. Okay. Yo, twins! Look, if you have a brother and a brother fighting, it happens, I understand that. But twins! One on each side? Nah, man, it was epic. And we knew it was going to happen because of the books. And I was not disappointed. I was not disappointed. The fact that Eric, I think, killed himself after Arik died, it just shows a twin can't really live without a twin. And, yo, I don't know, there's something about twins and, like, them fighting, it's just crazy to me. Like, how is a twin fighting another twin, bro? You're literally fighting yourself. It's like fighting a hologram of you. I don't know. Yeah, this death was absolutely memorable. 100%. I think this, for me, personally, I'm going to put it into best deaths. You had two twins fighting, one on each side, and you see they obviously don't want to, but they have different beliefs. They have different beliefs on who they think should be the ruler of Westeros. And yeah, just one of the most memorable epic deaths I've seen. And yeah, it kind of makes me sad as well. It is a very sad death because I like them. I like them both, especially Eric. But yeah, makes me sad now. But guys, as you can see, here's the full list of the best deaths to the most boring deaths. I want you guys to tell me what you think and if you agree with the list or not and what you would change. Would you move anyone up or would you move anyone down? I think I'm very happy with my list. I think I maybe could switch around one or two, and I'm particularly looking at Stefan Darkling and Aemma. I think maybe they could go down one. However, I'm still satisfied with the ranking. Thank you guys again for coming by to my video, and I will catch you guys later for another Hekera video, hopefully. And yeah, take care, guys, and winter is coming. Get wrapped up. Peace.